Hello guys, welcome to another episode on Latsman Farms. Our previous video did very well because a lot of people wanted to understand what we were trying to do in our backyard. So today's video is just to continue from where we left off the other time. And we start this video by changing the water in our catfish tank. You see that in the previous video we showed you we had about like 48 catfish in this tank. And we said we are running a zero waste farm. So what I have here is there's a pump and there's a submersible pump which has been placed into this. And then I collect all my wastewater in these kind of barrels. By collecting them over here, I can oxygenate them, mineralize them, further decompose the chemicals or whatever the fish produces in terms of waste and all of that, the ammonia, and it becomes very, very good fertilizer for my grow beds. So just like that, we are not wasting any water. We collect this, if it's full, goes into the next barrel, and we make sure all the barrels are okay. Ever since I started doing this, I haven't seen the need for me to use any kind of water for my farm because I'm having very rich fertilizer always given to the grow beds I have at the back end. So moving on from here, then we come to our fish tank and then this entire setup. So when we finished the previous video, we asked for a lot of you guys to share your thoughts about this system with us. And just after the video, the following day, we had some of our fish dying from this particular tank. And this prompted us to do some quick water tests to find out what is causing the mortalities. So yeah, we had about like 6 species of our fish dying. But then one of the things I observed was, in as much as I had only one aerator entering into the tank, and then also the water over here flowing into the tank, the fish were coming on the top of the surface of the pond, and they seem to be looking for oxygen. So they come to the top and then gasp for air. It's a sign that the oxygen available in the tank is a bit low. So what I decided to do was to extra aerate by adding this to the system. Now from time to time I'll have to come and be cleaning this nicely so that the algae doesn't block the pores for the oxygen to come out. And when I did that, what I observed was immediately the mortality stopped. And that was a sign that my dissolved oxygen in this tank wasn't okay for the fish. So generally, if you realize that you barely have issues with dissolved oxygen being very high in your tank, because if you are giving your fish a lot of oxygen, you are looking for 5 milligrams per liter. That is when you measure to check the amount of oxygen in your pond. When it's below that, it's going to stress your fish. And then also I would say that the more oxygen you have in your tank is okay because they are tilapia. But then according to study, we say that you're not supposed to have more than 14 milligrams per liter in your tank. But looking at this, I am not going to have that at all. So this is what we are doing now to solve this problem. Again, before introducing the subsequent aeration, we decided to run some tests. So we came here and then we did a couple of tests. The initial test we took was ammonia test. Ammonia is the waste that is produced from the fish. So when they feed, whatever excretes that comes out would increase ammonia. And then if, let's say, a fish dies and it's not taken out of the system, it will increase ammonia. On eating feed would increase ammonia. And any organic matter that enters into the system can increase the ammonia. So we did an ammonia test, and then we realized that there were certain levels of ammonia, but it wasn't very high. And then right from there, we did the nitrate test and then the nitrite test. And we realized that our nitrite levels was very low, which was very okay for us. So after doing the nitrite test, we decided to do the nitrate test. And the nitrate is actually less toxic to your fish, and it's also something that your plants would be very much interested in. Because we hadn't introduced any plant into our system, it means that the nitrate will continuously go high. So it went high to a point and then it started reducing. And that was a sign that things were okay for us. Let's check up on our catfish. It seems their water is almost out. So at this level, it's difficult for the sub pump to continuously pump the water. And so what we'll do is we'll just put off the sub and then we'll open the outlet of the tank and then collect that water again. Remember, we are not wasting any water at all in this farm. So if you've watched my previous videos, I always do say that these IBCs, they do come with a valve over here, but then I always make sure I do another connection for it. Reason being is, depending on the size of the fish, you can set this at a certain flow rate, and then now when you come, this is what you open. So if you realize that maybe your fish, they aren't too small, then you can open it because you know that a fish cannot pass through. But if they are quite small, then you will have to set it at a flow rate, and then you can use this valve to either open or close. This water will be very rich in a lot of nutrients, and I do not want any to go wasted. So after draining the water and then getting some amount of water for the fish, the next thing to do is to supply water to my grow bed. So because I'm using the water hose, forgive me for this messy thing. Because I'm using the water hose, I've put this, fix this inside, and then now when you put on the pump, it will just take the water all the way to where I have my grow beds. So let me put on the pump. Yeah, I can feel the vibration, which means it has started working. So we'll take the water all the way to my grow bed. So after doing the water test, we realized that we needed to oxygenate, as I've mentioned. And then if you are running a very good system, there is a color you are looking out from your fish tank. And you are looking for a brownish but clear color. So generally, if you come closer to your setup, you want to see the water being a little bit clear, and then the bottom bit being a bit brown. That is telling you that you are running a good system. And the fish, they decided to go and hide because they are seeing a lot of us over here. But then quickly, when you have this running, again, water runs from here, it comes into this radial flow filter. And the other episode, I explained to you what this is supposed to do. I'm going to drain the water. This radial flow settler is going to collect a lot of the solids from the fish tank at the base. And then I said we are not going to waste the water because we are going to oxygenate it and then mineralize it and then use it for our tank. So you're supposed to be doing this kind of changes very frequently. If you do that very frequently, then our canister filter would not become dirty very quickly. So, and that's it. You can see a lot of the waste and it smells a little bit. So the next set of things we can do is to further decompose this water. And so I would use this in the grow bed system. I'll mineralize it. Then we come to our canister filter, which we cleaned the other day. So you guys know how the cleaning is being done. And then we decided to add some media for biofiltration. So is this the best we can use? Not necessarily the best, but that's what we have available at the moment. So what's going to happen is your fish is going to produce a lot of ammonia, as I've said. So yes, ammonia would increase in your system. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, there are beneficial bacteria in the environment, and they are supposed to convert your high ammonia first into nitrite. And then now they'll just convert them again into nitrate. Now this beneficial bacteria would be cultured in the environment, hence the testing that we did, and we realized that there was a lot of, there wasn't too much high levels of ammonia and then nitrite again, because these two are very toxic to your fish. but then it converts them into nitrate, which is less toxic to your fish. So there is a surface that is required for this kind of beneficial bacteria. And so what they need is they need some water, they need some amount of oxygen, and then they need a surface to be able to colonize on. So the more you have this beneficial bacteria in your setup, the better your nitrification, which is the changing of ammonia into nitrate. And so I have with me here, these are bottle corks from different plastic waste, and we decided to put them inside this system. Secondly, we do not want any dead zones. When I say dead zones, these are zones where the oxygen is not getting to. So currently, as you can see, the edges of this setup is not receiving a lot of oxygen, which would mean that this may not be extremely efficient as I want. So I am planning of having this or substituting this with something else. And so there's a concept of a venturi. I am looking at trying to connect a pipe and then do a venturi which would oxygenate the entire bottom of this entire system. And this will be very okay, and my system would yield the benefits I'm looking out for at the end of the day. We are going to add a lot more of these to the system and any other plastic. So this is also a way of reducing the plastic waste that we have in the environment. Now, if you can't get this, the gravels and other components in different systems are able to further break them down. Also, the deep water culture beds, the surfaces, and then these kind of systems are also going to culture some of the beneficial bacteria. So I'm not just culturing beneficial bacteria in this, but then I'll have some in this, in that, and then in the other tank as well. Another thing is there are harmful gases that may be present in my system. So these harmful gases, such as carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and then methane, will be taken out of the system as a result of the oxygenation that goes on, and then it will move out from the entire tank into the atmosphere. So this tank can also serve as a degassing tank to do that for me, and then I'll have a lot of my beneficial bacteria moving over here. I would have to do a lot of tweaking for the entire system, where I would add venturis, probably one venturi in the fish tank, because there's already water entering the tank, and then a venturi over here. I'm also thinking of when I come to these kind of systems over here, I can also add venturis to these grow beds, because the roots of your plant also need certain amounts of oxygen. And so for you to be able to produce that oxygen for your fish, or for your roots, what you can do is, I'm looking at experimenting with venturis, and because I used 1-inch piping, I'm looking at building a venturi that is between 3/4 or a 1/2-inch pipe in these kind of systems to oxygenate them. Now, depending on the efficiency of my venturi, this may become a backup to the system. So it also means that if I'm able to build very efficient venturi, I wouldn't need to worry myself with a lot of these air pumps. A water pump, which will be very efficient, will be able to do everything. And so you guys are going to see whether it will be possible for us to be able to build this. In my previous episode, I asked you guys to share your thoughts with me in relation to this particular setup. And so I do have quite a number of people who made good suggestions to this system. So the first person happens to be Abdul Mohammed, who says that you can use exfoliating sponge to support the lettuce. You add small at first, then continue adding till the plant germinated very well. The sponge is very light, it won't exert weight on the foam. So I asked with respect to this particular thing, right? I was asking what can we use on the inside to hold the lettuces that we are trying to culture over here. And so I asked that I wanted to use either the gravels or some kind of foam. And so he's saying I can use the sponge. And thank you very much for that from you. Then in relation to the pumps and then the energy, I mentioned in the previous episode that we were solely running with the national grid. And so Gerardios Geras says that I should think about putting backup power for my aerator, and it will make sure that whenever there's a power outage, my fish will still have enough oxygen. And then he was saying that I should switch from a DC air pump powered by 12 volt battery and solar panel, which will be more practical and very convenient. So yes, I am trying to get my solar system very functioning, and then from there I can now use that one and then probably get a couple of batteries also to serve as a backup for this system. So thank you for that. And then another person who says his name is Stam Jacqueline, if I got it right. He says, really great thing you guys have doing. He says I should give it a thought about the plants and their roots. If they are going to be covered in water every time, it's going to limit what I can grow. As there are different ways of working around this besides the number of plants. And then he also says that the number of plants I have requested for this setup in relation to my fish, I was using the calculation of 40 fish is going to produce 120 heads of lettuce. So that is a ratio of 1:3. He says that is too small. And then most importantly, I asked about the barrel we have over here. I was placing all my aerator and every other electricals into this, and then I was pushing them beneath. He was saying that if I am to put my electrical component into a plastic thing, I think that is airtight, I'll end up with condensation problems. And that is very true. You see, your aerators, just like the way sometimes our ACs do work, they absorb some of the air from the environment and they push some out. And so in a space where it is airtight, it's not going to have that ability to do that. Therefore, I've decided to take the aerator out. Currently, it's at the bottom. I'm trying to work out a system where I can put everything in there properly. But currently, this is what I'm trying to do. So in our next episode, we are going to discuss how efficient this system is with respect to energy, water, cost, space, plants, and every other thing, so that you guys will be able to know whether this is something you would like to do in your backyard. If you received any value from this video, please try and like and then try and subscribe. A lot of the times, you guys, you watch the videos, but then you do not subscribe. Please subscribe so that every other update we share, you'll receive a notification and then you'll be able to join in. But then if you have any questions, you have any suggestions again with respect to what I have over here, I know for sure our next episode, we are going to feature some of these questions and answer them directly. So you have your questions directed at us, and then I believe that you should get answers. So make sure you comment on this video. If you don't have anything to say, just make sure you like the video. And we go to the most interesting part about fish farming, that is feeding our fish. And you can see the fish enjoying life. They like what we are giving them over here. I could put the system off so that you can. They're a bit shy of the camera. Yeah, so what you just have to do as a farmer, make sure you always feed often. And then one of the things I realized, which was a bit of a problem for this setup, if we are to open this tap, currently we've opened it at a certain flow rate, right? If you have to open it fully, what will happen is this entire tank will start rising in terms of water level, and then it could easily overflow. Therefore, we decided to just set the flow rate, and this is because of how we decided to balance everything over here. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in our next episode, which will be a nice one. Bye.